marriage should be the start of a happy life. I thought marrying a rich man would bring me love and security, but I was wrong. In this grand mansion, I was not a wife. I was a burden. My husband ignored me, and his mother humiliated me every day. I had nothing, not even respect. This is my story, how I married a rich man but lived like a beggar. Short, emotional, and straight to the point. Let me know if you want any adjustments. Lesty stared at the grand mansion in front of her. This was her new home, the house she would live in after marrying Nassar. From the outside, it looked luxurious. Tall gates, gleaming marble floors, and expensive cars parked in the driveway. But why did she feel uneasy? As she stepped inside, her mother-in-law, Inul, stood at the entrance, arms crossed. Her sharp eyes scanned Lesty from head to toe, as if judging her entire existence. "So, this is my son's wife?" Inul's voice was cold. "Well, I hope you can adapt quickly. In this house, we don't spoil lazy women." Lesty swallowed hard. She had hoped for a warm welcome, but instead, she was met with hostility. Nassar, her husband, simply walked past them, not even acknowledging the tension in the air. That night, as she lay in bed beside Nassar, she whispered, "Are you happy that we're married?" Nassar didn't even look at her. "Go to sleep, Lesty." Her heart sank. Was this really the life she had dreamed of? Lesty woke up early, eager to help in the kitchen. But when she arrived, she found Inul and the housemaids already preparing breakfast. "Good morning, Mom," Lesty greeted politely. Inul only gave her a glance before continuing to sip her coffee. "You don't need to act like a proper daughter-in-law here. Just eat whatever is served and don't cause trouble." Lesty forced a smile and sat down. But as she reached for a plate, Inul stopped her. "That food is for Nassar and me. You can eat later, if there's anything left." Lesty was stunned. "But I'm part of this family too, right?" Inul chuckled mockingly. "A family? You think just because you married my son, you're automatically family?" Her stomach growled, but she had no choice but to leave the table. By midday, Lesty's stomach was still empty. She only had tap water to keep her from fainting. She decided she had to talk to Nassar. She sat beside him in the living room, waiting for the right moment. "Nassar, can I have some money? I want to buy my own food," Lesty asked, her voice trembling. Nassar sighed in annoyance. "For what? There's already food in the house." Lesty was shocked. Did he not know how his mother treated her? Or was he just pretending not to care? "But I can't eat the food here." Before she could continue, Inul's voice cut through the room. "Lesty, don't be a spoiled wife. If you need money, get a job. Stop relying on my son." Lesty clenched her fists. She had always thought marriage would make her life easier. But now, she felt like an outsider in her own home. That night, she sat alone in her room, tears rolling down her cheeks. Meanwhile, Nassar slept peacefully beside her, as if nothing was wrong. The next morning, Lesty woke up with swollen eyes. She knew one thing: crying wouldn't change anything. She took out the little money she had left in her wallet. Just a few small bills, enough to buy some bread and water. As she was about to step out, Inul's voice stopped her. "Where are you going so early?" Lesty swallowed hard. "I'm going to buy some food, Mom." Inul smirked. "Do you think being in this family is easy? When I got married, I never asked my husband for money. If you want to eat, work for it." Lesty felt her blood boil, but she knew arguing with Inul was pointless. She walked out of the house and headed to the nearest store. As she walked, her mind raced. Maybe Inul was right. She needed a job. She couldn't keep relying on Nassar. But the biggest question was, what could she do? As she returned home with a bag of bread, she froze at the sight in front of her. Nassar was sitting on the terrace, laughing with a woman dressed in luxury. Lesti recognized her immediately. Maya, Nassar's ex-girlfriend. Her chest tightened. Was her husband still seeing another woman? Lesti stood frozen at the gate, her hands trembling. While she was starving and humiliated by her mother-in-law, her husband was happily chatting with another woman. Nassar noticed her presence but didn't react. Instead, he looked at her indifferently, as if she were invisible. "Oh, Lesti," Maya greeted cheerfully, walking toward her. "Aren't you going to join us?" Lesti clenched her fists, holding back her emotions. Before she could answer, Inul appeared. "Maya, come inside. Ignore Lesti. She's just a freeloader in this house," Inul sneered. Lesti lowered her gaze. She wanted to speak up, but she knew she would never win in this house. That night, she confronted Nassar in their bedroom. "Nassar, I need to ask you something," she said, her voice shaking. Nassar put down his phone, looking irritated. "What now?" Lesti gathered her courage. "What is your relationship with Maya?" Nassar scoffed. "She's just an old friend. Don't be jealous." Lesti bit her lip. "I'm not jealous, Nassar. I just need to know, am I really your wife? Or am I just someone who happens to live here?" Nassar's cold stare pierced through her. "If you feel unappreciated, then leave. No one is forcing you to stay." Lesti's heart shattered. She looked at him with pleading eyes, but Nassar had already turned back to his phone, ignoring her completely. That night, Lesti couldn't sleep. Nassar's words kept repeating in her head. "If you feel unappreciated, then leave. No one is forcing you to stay here." Her heart ached. She had married Nassar hoping to build a happy home, but now she was nothing more than an unwanted guest. The next morning, she made a decision. As she stepped out of her bedroom, she saw Nassar getting ready to leave. He looked sharp, wearing an expensive suit, his cologne filling the air, so different from how he treated her at home. Lesti stood in front of him. "Nassar, we need to talk." Nassar glanced at his watch, impatient. "Make it quick, I'm busy." Lesti took a deep breath. "I want to go back to my parents' house." Nassar raised an eyebrow. "Oh? And why are you telling me this? That's your decision, isn't it?" Lesti's throat tightened. "I just want to know. Does this marriage mean anything to you at all?" Nassar was silent for a moment before chuckling coldly. "Lesti, listen. I only married you because my mother wanted me to. Not because I truly wanted you." Her world collapsed. She stood there, frozen, unable to process the pain. Seeing her expression, Nassar sighed. "If you want to leave, go ahead. I won't stop you." Lesti turned away, her heart torn. She had hoped he would change his mind, but deep down, she knew it was hopeless. As she reached the front door, another voice stopped her. "If you walk out of this house, don't ever think about coming back." Lesti turned around. Inul stood at the doorway, a smug smile on her face, as if she had won, and at that moment, Lesti realized she was never truly wanted in this house. With shaky breaths, she stepped out. Tears streamed down her face. For the first time, she was free from her suffering. But at the same time, her heart shattered, because she was leaving behind a marriage she had once dreamed of. The end.